Hello and welcome back to Fallout 76. Today we are going to have a look at Fracturers. Fracturers is a 4-star legendary effect for weapons of all kinds, ranged and melee. When crippling limbs, they explode and deal up to 50 explosion damage to nearby targets. So when I think about crippling limbs, first thing that comes to mind for me is shotguns, so that's what we'll be testing this out on. So I'm going to test this out on a couple of different shotguns. This first one is a combat shotgun. It's quad with plus 50% VATS hit chance, minus 25% AP cost, and then that 4-star effect, Fracturers. And then I have this quad explosive, faster reload, double barrel shotgun. So we're just going to add some more explosion to it. So I think that could be fun. And this is a dedicated shotgun build. So I have all of the shotgunner perks maxed out. And I put on Demo Expert because, well, number one, that one shotgun, the double barrel, is explosive already. But since the Fractures does create an explosive effect, this should help with that. I have Grenadier for the same reason. And of course, we have Enforcer rank 3 because we want to give ourselves the best chance to cripple because that is the only time we will be able to get that explosion. So obviously, this is something that's not going to be useful against bosses, really. It's mainly for just kind of other kind of mobs. And if they are in a crowd, that's even better because you will get that area effect on there. So once we've crippled a limb, you want to, basically what this does, it's causing me to do, to play in kind of a weird way. The explosions are actually pretty good though. You play in kind of a weird way where you basically target stuff and you switch body parts after a cripple, and torso counts. I mean, this seems to count pretty much anything you can target in VATS, which, makes it a lot more useful, but it does kind of lead to a weird style of play where you're just rotating body parts every time you hit something in VATS. And this will do damage to you as well. Let's target something else. But yeah, you're close to that. You do want some sort of protection from explosions, but it is nice that torso works, and you can see area of effect. This could be really useful for events, for tagging stuff, when there's a lot of events that have a lot of enemies, but it makes shotguns a lot more exciting. I would say a little more useful. Like I said, against bosses, probably not so much. It is kind of fun though. Oh wow, and kind of blinding as well, and you can see the area damage, not that much. I mean, his health bar is mostly intact, so. But it does pretty good damage on the target itself. So I did try this when it was when they first introduced it on the PTS, and the damage is actually only a third of what it was initially. So they've really cut down on how much damage this does, which is kind of a shame. It's not like, I mean, it's not a shotgun specific perk, but it still would be nice if it did more damage so that the enemies nearby were actually affected. Looks like we got a dog butt right here. Can't really, there we go. Let's see if we can do the leg there. There we go. And the other leg. Nope, there's not much left there. There we go. Yeah, I would think this would be good on something like a pepper shaker, where you're going to do a lot of crippling as well. It's not a weapon that I tend to run though. Let's switch over to the, where is it here? This is the one. So I'll switch over to the double barrel. We'll do a little more damage, but we will have to reload more often. That works. I gotta say, this is actually pretty fun. It adds a lot of spice. I mean, I like shotguns anyway, so anything that makes them more interesting, that makes them more exciting, and the explosion damage is, I mean, it's real. The area of effect isn't that much. I mean, you can see a little bit off of him, but it seems to really help a lot with the target that we're shooting. Works pretty well, but again, you want to have some sort of fireproof because you will do damage to yourself when enemies get close, like right here. I do have fireproof. No, I don't have fireproof. I have a dense chest piece, so if I had fireproof, that would be even better. But still, I do like this a lot. I think this is, I'm not really sure what other effect I'd put on a shotgun anyway. I think this is kind of the perfect effect for something like this. And you can see just vaporizing your enemies is always a good time. All right, let's switch back to the combat shotgun. Let's see how we do on some gulpers if we can hit them. Actually, that's pretty good. I mean, gulpers are fairly tanky, and shotguns don't have the best range in the world, but if we can connect, we can cripple, and the explosion does a lot of damage for us. So even though we're losing, yeah, that's not doing much. So let's go down here. I can't just leave him like this. I think we've crippled everything. There we go. Oh, now we have a ghoul, and he will just die. Okay, let's see what we could do from distance here with that VATS hit chance. No, leg, nope. We already crippled the torso, there we go. And yeah, this is not a long range weapon. Still. too far away to be useful. I should have waited until I was closer. Still not really sure which way I want to go with this. I do like the combat shoddy, not having to, and he just blew up. So, oh, crippled limbs. That's what happens when they get a crippled limb. They just blow up. I mean, I do like the combat shotgun being able to reload less, but the extra damage from, there we go. The extra damage from the double barrel is pretty nice. Plus it's already explosive, so it just kind of gives you more bang for your buck, as it were. And I guess he's dead. How about you? Keep, yeah, the more body parts an enemy has that we can target into VATS, the better. That's just more explosions we can generate. Always a good time. Let's got that and that. It is kind of weird though. I'm not used to just constantly switching body parts in VATS. Usually you just pick the, you know, pick a weak spot and just go to town. And that doesn't really, I mean, obviously that works, but if you're looking for explosions to get the most out of this effect, you really want to be able to, I mean, you don't have to do it in VATS. Obviously this works in VATS, out of VATS. If I do, well, it doesn't work on this. It doesn't work on that. Oh, did I cripple I crippled myself. That's awesome. Let's see here. So if I got stuck, and I think it just has to do with manual aiming. Sometimes manual aiming on third person causes problems, but it should work. Yeah, it doesn't have to be a VATS thing. It just has to be a crippled thing. So it's a lot easier to cycle through though when you're using VATS. But it definitely it definitely introduces an odd style of play, but you can see it's actually quite effective for close-up combat anyway. This actually works surprisingly well. Just let's actually get something that's not 0%, because 0 is not a number that we can work with. There we go. All right, we are back to the double barrel. I still can't decide which one of these I like the best. And they have lots of limbs to cripple, so that's a good thing. And we just start blasting away, switching between targets. Doesn't matter where you start, because everything blows up. And there should be another one over here if I can hit it. That's the nice thing about shotguns and Enforcer 3 is you basically cripple, not every shot, but you're gonna cripple probably 9 times out of 10 or even better than that. Which makes it, there we go. Which makes this a lot more, oh look, did I? Oh no, that's the same body, it just flung him. I thought, did I do area of effect and kill another thing? That seems unlikely. The area of effect damage seems rather small. It says 50, but I have, with Demo Expert on there, I have seen pop-up numbers on enemies that are in the area with the explosion damage higher than 50, so that does seem to affect it. I think I'm gonna stick with the double barrel. I like that a little bit better. It's more damage. I do have to reload it more often, but that's okay. Mostly, I mean, even with the combat shotgun, I never make it through all the rounds because I'm such a habitual reloader. Let's see what this does too. That's a level 75. Oh, didn't cripple him. There we go. And whoops, I went the wrong way. And there we go. So that doesn't, I mean, in terms of time to kill, that doesn't really speed things up at all. At least it's fun. I love when the bodies eat. That's always fun. Cripple the head, if I can hit the head. There we go. And there's this guy. He'll probably be a one-shot kill. And I think there's a Mirelurk Queen out there somewhere, which is kind of what I wanted out of this. Let's see how this does. Probably not all that useful, I would think. But there's lots of stuff on a Mirelurk Queen to cripple. And, okay. And, okay, now I'm crippled. Luckily, my limbs don't explode, but let's see if we can get the, let's see if we can get the other legs. There we go. All right, so you can see it in terms of actual damage, extra, not that much, not super useful, but I mean, yeah. So in terms of against big enemies, I would say this has pretty much no utility at all, honestly, because I'd be able to cripple her and she'd be down in this spot regardless, and yeah, just taking lots of hits. Come on, one more maybe. Wow, she is so tough. So yeah, not very useful against large targets. I think for the most part, this is just entertainment purposes. So like I said, I think entertainment is more of a thing for this rather than utility. Against a big target, doesn't really seem to help at all. And against smaller targets, it helps a little with killing them a little quicker. But mostly it just puts on a nice show. And it's also good for tagging enemies that are close together. So I could see this being useful in events. And I would probably limit this to shotguns only. I don't know that I'd want to put this on another weapon. Although I am tempted to try it on a melee weapon just to see what that's like. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit one of the buttons, and I hope you'll join me in the next one. Thank you very much.